What's up, fanatics? I'm so excited to be here with you guys today. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. So I want to say thank you for all the feedback you guys gave me on the first part of this video. If you guys have not seen the first part, what I'm doing is my top 20 little known horror movies that you probably have not seen. In the last video I did I did 20 through 11. So here we are right now in the top 10. And guys, just so you know how much I love you, you have no idea how hard it was to put these in order in top 10. And I want you guys to know something, that I've got plenty of other horror movies that are very rare, that you might not have heard of, but these are just near and dear to my heart. And in thinking of it, I missed two. I can't believe it. I missed two that I really like and that are also not super well little known, but not very well known. So I want to give you two honorable mentions before I start it, okay? Number one, Funny Games, 1997, directed by Michael Haneke. I stumbled upon this. There was no forum that led me to it. There was nobody that told me about it. I was in the DVD store one day years ago, clearly, and saw the cover, and I was like, you know what? Let me just give this a shot. And I was blown away. It is a very disturbing movie. What's disturbing about it is, so what happens? Two young men, very well dressed, well put together young men, come to ring a doorbell, and they're invited inside, and they just torture this family. The game is the torture. They find fun, they find enjoyment in torturing this family. And it's weird because the director is on the side of the villains. When there's a scene, when you get to it, if you watch it, you'll see what I mean when I say that. But it's a very unique film. I haven't seen anything like it before, either before it or since it. So I had to put that one up there. My next honorable mention is Tales from the Hood. Tales from the Hood came out in 1995, and this movie, now we know what's going on, guys. I don't get political, you know that, but we know what's going on right now in our society with the Black Lives Matter movement and blurring and ending, the racial inequality and things of that nature. Those were the type of subjects that were tackled in this movie, but you guys remember Samson from Half Baked, Clarence Williams III? If there was an Oscar to be given for a horror movie, he would get it for his role in this movie. He was funny, he was intense, and he was terrifying. He put you in so many different emotions to watch this movie. So if you guys have not seen Tales from the Hood, the first one, the second one, not very good. But the first one, very good movie, and I am so upset that I missed it and didn't think about it when I put this together. So now that I got those out the way, guys, let's get to my top 10. Now, how I did this was two things. Number one, how good the movie was, and number two, how rare it is. So if I rank something lower or higher, doesn't mean it's not as good as the lower ranked movies. It just is a little bit less, it's easier to find and more people have heard of it. So I want to make that disclaimer. So number 10, Pumpkinhead, 1988. Listen, okay, Pumpkinhead's a phenomenal movie if you've seen it. It's phenomenal. The relationship between the son and his father, the story is it's a really good story, really touching story in the beginning. You guys know what I mean by that. And I know you're thinking that, I've seen this movie. And in the horror world, when I talk to 100 people, I'd say 70 people have seen it. So it is worth mentioning as being a movie you may not have seen, but it's not as rare in the close community of horror as some of these other ones are, okay? But what happens is Ed Harley, played by Lance Henriksen, really awesome guy, by the way, played by Lance Henriksen, is him and his son are running this a mart, and these kids come and they're dirt biking around the way. One of the kids on the dirt bike hits his son inadvertently. It was not intentionally at all. Kills him. The problem is they ran off because they were nervous. One guy stayed with them, but the rest of them had to run off because they were just scared. The guy who hit him had warrants and they had priors, and he thought he would, he would go down hard for this. So he left, and he forced everybody else to leave, except for the one guy that stayed. So there's a witch that can help find revenge, help you get revenge if you've been wronged. And it has a terrible price, which I'm not going to give you, go into that price, but you can conjure up this evil called Pumpkinhead to get revenge for you. It's a terrible price that comes along with it. And this movie, it asks some questions of, revenge might be what you think you want, but is it really what you want when it starts to happen? That's one of the underlying questions of this movie. One of my favorite, near and dear to my heart. So that's my number 10. Number 9, The Taking of Deborah Logan. That came out in 2014, relatively recent, and that was also mentioned in my top movies of the last decade. So it's a demon-based movie, but you would never know it initially. It started off as this older woman who looks like she's having Alzheimer's. It looks like she's going through, it looks like she has Alzheimer's. Or dementia, dementia. And that's what her quirkiness is. But as this film crew follows her, there's more to it than that. It is not Alzheimer's. And some of the most intense, some of the scariest visuals I've seen in this, and very subtle techniques. There's when you get to the scene where the video skips, and you'll see what I mean, but I don't want to give too much away. But Taking of Deborah Logan, if you like the demonic movies, if you like the found footage movies, this one, and I know you might be thinking found footage has been done to death, and it has. But this one was still brought something new, still brought something fresh, and I recommend it highly, highly. My number 9 horror movie that you've probably not seen. At number 8, High Tension, 2003. High Tension is just phenomenal, guys. Okay, High Tension is directed by Alexandre Aja, the same person that directed Horns. The same person that directed The Hills Have Eyes remake, the same person that directed Crawl. High Tension came out in 2003. It's originally called I don't want to mispronounce it, but it's a French film. It's Alexandre Aja is a French director, and High Tension has a right name. It is tense. It is tense and it is intense. And the thing about that movie that is so insane is the ending of it. It took me about 3 or 4 times to watch this movie before it really made sense. First time I saw it, I was like, I didn't like it at all. I was not a fan. And the more I watched it, the more I was like, wow, the movie is brilliant. It follows two female friends. One of them was introducing her friend to her family, and this man comes to the house late night and just starts slaughtering the family. And the 2 girls get away, and it's just this tour de force cat and mouse game throughout the rest of the movie. And again, I can't say enough about this movie. It is good in every sense of the word. High Tension, it's got the perfect name to it. Again, like I say that again. And if you guys have not seen it, check it out. Definitely check it out. That's my number 8. Coming in at number 7, of course it had to be up here, Session 9. You guys know I just did a video on that one a few videos ago about that being one of my favorite rewatchable horror movies. Session 9, surprisingly, has not been heard or watched by a lot of people, especially hardcore horror fans, which boggles my mind. It's in the same vein of The Shining to me. It reminds me a lot of The Shining. I think it is personally better than The Shining, and the reason I say that is because it's not as long. It doesn't have as many low points. That's just me personally, but I love The Shining, guys. Don't think that I'm talking bad about it, because I absolutely love The Shining. It's one of my favorite movies ever. I just think this one is slightly better. And I'm not going to go into it again about what it's about. If you guys want to know more about it, check out my last video. I don't want to take too much time up, re-saying the same stuff. But it is the last, I would say, 15 minutes are some of the most intense minutes you'll see in horror film history. You definitely have to check it out. So that's my number 7. Coming in at number 6, Burnt Offerings. Burnt Offerings came out in 1976 and stars Karen Black, the same young lady that was in Trilogy of Terror, the very first one. So, Burnt Offerings is a haunted house movie. And it's one of the first, well, not the first, but one of the first haunted house movies. But it's flown under the radar for so long, and it's time that we check it out. It's time you guys go on Amazon, pick it up, and watch it. Karen Black was such a phenomenal actress, and the mood, the tone, the setting, the performances, all of them were top notch. Absolutely top notch. This family is perfect. They are a happy couple, and you just kind of slowly see the descent. And it's just, it is very, very intense. If you have not seen this movie, please check it out. That's my number 6. Coming in at number 5, another rarity, In the Mouth of Madness, directed by John Carpenter. In the Mouth of Madness, I have been talking about this. Well, I've loved this movie since I was a kid. It's about this author named Sutter Kane, who's a bigger author than Stephen King in this movie world, and he goes missing. So this insurance agent, investigates to see if he's really missing or if they're trying to get some money behind it. And he's very skeptical. So in order to know more about him, he starts to read his books. Now, Sutter Kane's books have a effect, I would say, psychologically on the readers, and he doesn't believe that stuff. So he starts reading, and he gets deeper and deeper into the world of Sutter Kane, and starts to get tweaked mentally because of these books he's reading, and starts realizing that stuff around him is really it's just crazy. Things start to happen that are really wild, and it's such a random movie. Random things happen, but In the Mouth of Madness, when you think of this movie, you watch it, it's just pure madness. That's all you can really say, and it is awesome. Definitely, that is my number 5. Coming in at number 4, Magic, starring Anthony Hopkins, came out in 1978. Listen, Anthony Hopkins is a phenomenal actor. Everybody knows this. We've seen The Silence of the Lambs. We've seen countless movies of him. Dare I say this is his best or one of his best performances. And he's a young Anthony Hopkins in this one. The thing of it is, he has to play different roles in this movie, and he just does such a phenomenal job. He's a struggling magician that ends up finding this dummy, and that dummy is like the key to his act. He turns to a ventriloquist and does a great job. Everybody's loving his act. So he's going from place to place, just killing it. Burgess Meredith, from Rocky, the one who played in Rocky, the trainer of Rocky. He's his manager, and he's trying to get him the big time stuff, get him on ABC, NBC, and things like that. Well, he needs to take a physical, and he's like, no, I don't want to do it. I'm good on that. So he kind of goes into hiding. The more he gets attached to this dummy, the more the dummy seems to control him. The dummy's got a mind of its own, or does it? It is such a trippy movie, and it will have you thinking, what's really going on? Have you questioning what's really going on? It is really good. If you have not seen Magic, I definitely recommend that one. Number 3, coming in at number 3, Tourist Trap. Tourist Trap came out in 1979. Tourist Trap, just like all the other ones, also hard to find. I've talked to some of my good friends, good horror friends about this, and the ones that have seen it absolutely love it and can watch it over and over and over again. This group of friends goes to this tourist trap. It's it's a wax museum with mannequins and such, and the mannequins are alive, and they begin killing some of them. And there's more to it. It's not like House of Wax or anything of that nature. There's a little bit more to it. And if you like these old school, just very unique kills, and just a very unique premise and concept, this is the movie for you. Absolutely love Tourist Trap. Number 2, The Ugly, 1997. So The Ugly, as I said that Session 9 is similar to The Shining, The Ugly is similar to Silence of the Lambs. It follows Simon Cartwright, who's locked up in a hospital for killing, I think it was 11 people. I could be wrong about that number, but for killing a good amount of people. And this Dr. Karen Shoemaker has been brought in to like get into his head and find out why he's done what he's done. The thing of it is, sometimes you don't want to get into the head of killers. You just don't want to do it. You might think you're prepared for it, but you're not. And she ends up being sucked into his world, and it's just it reminds me a lot of Clarice and Hannibal Lecter. So if you like that whole back and forth, you're absolutely gonna love The Ugly. One of my favorite horror movies. I mean, absolutely, I wouldn't put it number 2 if I didn't think so. So number 1, the number 1 movie you probably have not seen, coming out in 2009, Grace. I cannot say enough about this movie, Grace. Number 1, what I will say, is absolutely and utterly disturbing. Hands down, just absolutely disturbing. Number 2, well, this is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. It's disturbing, but it is very, very good. If you are a horror fan, this is a must watch. So let me tell you what it's about. As a woman who is having trouble to get pregnant, she finally gets pregnant. She's carrying the baby. She gets into a car accident. In the car accident, they tell her at the doctor's office she's lost the baby. She's completely in denial. She's like, no, I'm gonna keep carrying it. And they're like, you can't carry a dead baby. They're like, no, I'm gonna keep carrying. I'm gonna carry him or her to term. So she ends up getting a midwife because they wouldn't agree with that, obviously at the doctor's office. So comes the due date. She has the baby. The baby comes out dead. She's like, she just holds the baby and attempts to nurse it. Through whatever, the baby comes back to life. The thing of it is, the baby is alive, but the baby only lives off of blood. If that's not enough to get your palate like salivating for this style of horror, I don't know what else is going to be. I'm not going to give you too much more than that. It is. If that's not enough to tell you what I mean by how disturbing it is, then I don't know what else to tell you. But I think I've only watched this movie maybe 4 times since I've got it. It is not an easy watch, at least not for me. Maybe you're a little bit less sensitive to things than I am. Maybe I'm a little softy in my old age. I don't know. But it is one of my favorites, and I think it is the best horror movie that you can see that you probably have not seen. If you have seen it, leave a comment. Let me know. If you've seen any of these, leave a comment. Let me know. I also want to know your top 10 or top 20. What are some very little known horror movies that you just absolutely love? Tell me, because maybe I haven't seen them and I want to see more. And again, these aren't the only ones that are out there. So I want to know what you guys love. I want to know what you guys think are your little known horror movies that you a lot of people have not really talked about them. Tell me so I can check it out and I can talk about it, and give you a little shout out in the video as well. Anyway, that's my video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed putting it together. I cannot wait until Wednesday for the next video. If you're new to this, thank you. Thank you for taking your almost 20 minutes to spend time with me today to hear this. If you like this video, leave a like. Click that like button. If you know someone else that will like this video, share it. Grow the channel. If you want to see more of this content, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when the new videos are coming. I do a video every Sunday and every Wednesday. The Wednesday video usually or lately has been getting uploaded on Thursday just because of time constraints and everything, but Wednesday or Thursday that video will be out, and this one will be out every single Sunday. So those are my this is what I do. I'm also a horror author. You can check out my books on theglads.com or amazon.com. The name of the book series is called The Glads. I've got 3 books coming out this year, not related to the series, but I'm really excited about that, guys. So again, if you're new, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you guys for spending time with me, and I'll see you guys next time.